can stop me now. past 5 years, we have witnessed the birth of countless excellent teams and players in all 5 major regions. They are still remembered by us to this day. At the same time, we also remember our fans who loved us from the very beginning. On the occasion of this 5th anniversary, let's turn back the clock to the starting point of PUBG Mobile esports, the Southeast Asia region, where all the stories began. As the first world-class event, PUBG Mobile Star Challenge gathered professional players from all over the world. With continuous development, the 2019 PUBG Mobile Club Open Global Finals is undoubtedly the most exciting event.
2019 Fall Split Global Finals, ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a round of applause!
Among the countless rising stars, one shined particularly bright. Bigatron Red Aliens, a team from Indonesia,
Bigatron Red Aliens
just got first place in the PMCO Southeast Asia Fall Championship, earning the chance to compete in the PMCO Global Finals in Malaysia. In the subsequent prelim stage, intense competition kicked off immediately. And finally, they advanced to the Grand Finals in second place. BTR demonstrated impeccable strength in the competition. By the end, BTR was leading the lobby by a significant 106 points, bringing the first ever championship title to the SCA region.
Di saat itu siapa yang nggak kenal dengan nama Bigatron gitu? Tim yang punya segudang prestasi, mereka juara dunia di PMCO Global Finals tahun 2019. Mereka banyak banget melahirkan pemain-pemain berbakat, Zuxi, Luxi, Ryzen, Microboy. Terus habis itu Zuxi, Luxi juga saat mereka menjadi juara dunia, mereka berada di masa prime-nya mereka banget.
PUBG Mobile Esports always strives to develop and grow year after year. That's why we made sure to continue the support and build the SCA region. In 2020, the improvement of the competitive schedule introduced the World League, which later became the World Invitational. We also launched the PUBG Mobile Pro League, where even more outstanding teams joined the competitive stage. In the 2020 PMWL, BTR once again clinched the championship in the East. This had given Southeast Asia the title of the strongest region in the world. They hoped to continue their legacy at the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, the pinnacle of PUBG Mobile esports. However, BTR was not able to repeat their performance from the previous year.
This round, winner, chicken dinner, Nova, and you.
With the rise of Team Nova, countless brilliant moments were had, but this also left many players with regret.
After BTR Red Alien won at the Global Championship in Kuala Lumpur, we thought C region was the best. We thought nobody could beat C region except maybe RRQ Athena, maybe Illuminate the Murder, maybe Mega Conqueror, but C region was the best at the time. And we get to the league. We heard of a team called Nova. We thought maybe this team is not that good. On the contrary, they owned all the teams. They were very good.
Let's move forward to the year 2021. With continuous efforts, more teams and players joined the Pro League. For example, Xavier, who placed third in the 2020 PMWI East League, also secured second place in the PMGC East League. FaZe Clan also made their debut on the world stage.
Có thể nói 2021 là năm thành công nhất của Dingo Xavier trên đấu trường quốc tế, khẳng định vị thế và tên tuổi của Việt Nam vô cùng mạnh mẽ. Còn với FaZe Clan, đây là năm đầu tiên họ đặt chân đến với giải đấu cao cấp nhất của PUBG Mobile, nhưng lại khiến tất cả những đối thủ khác đều phải dè chừng và e ngại.
Undoubtedly, the year 2022 has brought the greatest changes to the SCA region. Vampire Esports emerged, dominating 2022 PMWI, winning both the main and after-party tournaments, while also setting records for most chicken dinners, most eliminations, and more. They were not only facing competitors from the SCA region, but from all over the world. Everyone was talking about VPE and wondering if they can maintain their performance at the Global Championship or if it was just a stroke of good luck. On the last day of the 2022 PMGC Grand Finals, VPE won 3 chicken dinners alone, moving from the bottom of the table to 6th place, achieving the best result for the SCA region. They pulled off another miracle, but sadly, it was not enough to win it all. In 2023, VPE continued their impressive performance. They once again won everything at the 2023 PMWI.
2023 PUBG Mobile World Invitational Champions, Vampire Esports!
ก็ย้อนกลับไปในปีที่แล้วนะครับเอาจริงก็ผมมองว่าน่าจะโอ้โหไม่มีใครที่จะมองว่าทางฝั่งตัวแวมไพร์จะซักเซสได้ถึงขนาดนั้นนะครับเพราะยุคนั้นเหมือนทุกคนจะโฟกัสไปทางฝั่งตัวอินฟินแล้วก็เฟซแคนที่มีแบบว่าผู้เล่นดังๆนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าจำมันได้เหมือน PMGC ปีล่าสุดมากินไก่แบบเบิ้ลติดๆกันในวันสุดท้ายเหมือน เอาจริงน้องๆก็เคยบอกเลยว่าเฮ้ยเราเครียดกันไปหรือเปล่ามันเป็นตัวเองดีกว่าเล่นแบบปล่อยจอยเล่นแบบจอยเลยสุดท้าย3กระติดจบอันดับ6ของโลกซะอย่างนั้นนี่นะครับแวมไพร์สปอร์ตเหลือเชื่อจัด
But don't forget, Alter Ego, an Indonesian team, showed a very strong performance by winning the Super League twice. The SCA Super League was an upgrade to the previous championship, which by many is considered to be the most competitive league in PUBG Mobile. They could potentially become the next legend of the SCA region.
Untuk dibilang legend, gua rasa belum sih untuk Alter Ego. Walaupun mereka sempat ngedapetin back-to-back champion untuk di PMSL 2023, itu menurut gua hanya sekedar untuk ngasih pembuktian gitu bahwa Indonesia tidak kehabisan pemain berbakat. Ya mungkin contohnya Rosemary gitu. Datangnya dia ke Alter Ego tuh bener-bener jadi ujung tombak untuk Alter Ego. Dan gak berhenti di Rosemary. Masih ada Alpha juga yang didatangkan oleh Alter Ego untuk mengisi kekosongan atau kekurangan dari Alter Ego. Dan gue rasa PMGC 2023 ini akan menjadi ajang global championship pertama gitu untuk Rosemary dan juga si Alpha. Jadi wajib banget kita nantikan performnya mereka di PMGC 2023. Dan please di notes pastikan tonton Alter Ego sampai akhir.
Of course, there are many more teams we haven't mentioned, but these teams will all take part in the 2023 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. So what do you think? Who will be the ultimate winner in this year's PMGC? Will they be from SCA? Well, there's only one way to find out.
Greetings, PUBG Mobile players! The long-awaited Frost Festival is about to commence. In the new version 2.9, we'll be introducing battles filled with a frosty atmosphere. Snow Battle is coming to town. Furthermore, you'll also get to experience updates to World of Wonder and Classic Mode. So let's dive right into it. In the Frost Festival, we'll be bringing you a series of snow-themed content, including a new Snowy Village-themed area, fun interactions with snow pals, and snow-themed items for more gaming fun and excitement. When miraculous December comes, the frosty world will undergo some magical changes. Stay tuned for updates. Don't miss out. First, let's take a look at the new themed area, Snowy Village. The village covers a wide area of 280 by 150 and has loads of supplies. It's located near Stalber in Erringdale, Iceborg in Livik, and Goroka in Vikendi. In addition to the buildings on the ground, the underground area of the Lucky Ice Tower is also worth exploring. Make use of the two-story layout to experience a completely new battle experience. Sound the bell in the Lucky Ice Tower, and you can even summon rewards. Additionally, the village also has a snow rail, which can help you quickly move around and gather supplies. It allows you to navigate flexibly between different areas of the village and also swiftly relocate to advantageous positions during battles for your team to counterattack more effectively. Of course, you should always remain vigilant to avoid becoming the target of an ambush. What's more, the village also features a special two-seat vehicle, the Reindeer. It's also a great choice for transportation as it allows you to swiftly move all over the map. For intense battles, we've also prepared festive and practical battle equipment for you, the Snowball Blaster and Snowboard. The Snowball Blaster can be used in many ways and has loads of functionality. When you aim it at the ground or a building, it can create a snow pile cover for you. When used on enemies, you can temporarily transform them into lively snow pals to restrict their movement. When facing bodies of water, you can use the Snowball Blaster to freeze the surface so that you can walk on it. It's definitely a practical yet entertaining weapon. After transforming into a lively snow pal, you will be unable to use firearms to do battle. You'll only be able to rely on basic actions such as walking, running, jumping, and swimming to evade enemy pursuit. It takes some time before you can revert to your human form. Let's build a snowman together. The snowboard will also bring you a whole new experience. Apart from helping you glide and move on various surfaces, it can also be used with the Snowball Blaster. Explore the many possibilities and use these two items to have all kinds of fun. We've also designed various interactive mechanics, such as searching for snow toddlers, lucky ice, and the snow blast zone. When you encounter a lucky snowman on the map, don't be in a rush to leave. There are 4 lost little snowmen hidden near the lucky snowman. Search for the 4 hidden snow toddlers and bring them back to the large snowman. You'll then receive a token of gratitude. There are lots of lucky ice scattered across the map. Shatter the ice to get the supplies inside. Try using a melee weapon to break the ice more easily. Furthermore, you'll find that snow has engulfed some red zones on the map, and the falling snow will bring about many interesting effects. Players within a snow blast zone will be transformed into a lively snow pal if they're hit by the snow. If the snow lands on the ground, a snow pile cover will be created. In this World of Wonder update, we'll be introducing a brand new transformation skill gameplay and a catch me hide and seek gameplay for you to enjoy the transformation skills to the fullest. Of course, you can also use this skill to create more interesting creations. We've also added a Snowy Village map template to celebrate the Frost Festival with creators. Additionally, we've also made some updates and improvements to gameplay devices, game parameter settings, and the editor. For more details, please follow the official PUBG mobile community. We'll continue introducing the latest WoW content to everyone. As for Classic Mode, we've also made some improvements to vehicles, firearms, creation mode, emotes, settings, and more. First, we've enhanced the designated marksman rifles. Some DMRs can be equipped with the full auto mod to fire in full auto. We've also improved the attributes and handling of some vehicles to enhance your driving experience. We've also added a new garage mechanic. From now on, you can choose your dream ride during matches. Meanwhile, we've also added a custom SFX adjustment feature. You can adjust the volume of some sound effects to whatever best suits you. As for creation mode, we'll be introducing some quick view features for watching the victory dance and fireworks displays and the new Frozen Kingdom themed performance in order to provide players with more possibilities for creative content. Furthermore, we've expanded the emote backpack. Now you can equip more emotes before entering the battleground. That's a wrap for the main content in this new version. In addition, new content will be added to the popularity battle event, Metro Royale, and season rewards. For more details, follow our official PUBG mobile community. Snow Battle is coming to town. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
In 2020, while the eyes of most PUBG Mobile viewers were focused on Southeast Asia as well as other regions, there was one region in particular that went under the radar, the 2020 EMEA League. Numerous teams from different regions were fighting for a spot in the 2020 PMGC. Among them, the teams from the EU region were the most dazzling. Canina Power, which had previously won 3rd place in the 2020 PMWL West League, managed to break through and eventually won 6th place in the 2020 PMGC. Class Dilge Athletics from Turkey also successfully took 8th place. For the entire EU region, this was a great start, and in the future, the EU region would grow into an even stronger region. The EU region seems to have endless potential. They always have a number of astonishingly talented newcomers. In the 2021 PMWI, in addition to the veteran team Canina Power taking 2nd place, the newly reorganized team in 2021, Next Ria,
Xenox in the smokes, the solo by themselves,
surprisingly won 3rd place.
The EU region seems to just have endless potential. There's always a number of astonishingly talented newcomers coming up through the ranks, developing their skills, and in 2021 at the PMWI, you had some of the veterans there for sure. Canina Power taking 2nd place, an incredible performance coming through from them to get that 2nd place. But not only that, you had the reorganized team for Next Ruya in 2021 who won PMPL Turkey. They came 1st in their region and then were invited on the back of that to the PMWI West to take 3rd place. So these new talents working as this new roster at the time, a phenomenal resurgence there, and there's so much more left in the pipeline, I'm sure, for this region. I'm really excited for what the future has, and I can't wait to see what they've got.
In the 2021 PMGC, teams from around the world gathered once again. First of all, worth mentioning is that among all the participating countries in the Grand Finals, Turkey had the most with 3. Among them, teams like S2G and Next Ria finished 4th and 6th respectively. This was a massive achievement. The efforts of the EU region are constantly bearing fruit. Now they just needed an opportunity.
2021 yılında Dünya Şampiyonası istediğimiz gibi başlamıştı. Çünkü West aşamasında 3 takımımızı birden ilk 6'ya sokmayı başardık ve büyük finallere 3 takımımızı göndermiştik. S2G 4. olarak buraya katılma hakkı kazanmıştı ve kadrosunda Rip7, Timber, Kalse, Sylas gibi isimler vardı. Büyük finallerde ne yapacağını çok fazla kestiremiyorduk temsilcilerimizin, çünkü dünyadaki takımların iyi performansları söz konusuydu. Büyük finallerde temsilcimiz S2G 4. olmayı başardı, Nexu'ya 6. olmayı başardı. Maalesef Fenerbahçe ilk 8'in dışarısında kalmıştı. Ama bu takımın ileride çok iyi şeyler vaat ettiği konusunda herkes hemfikirdi.
Next, let's go directly to the 2022 PMGC. At a time when everyone was focusing on whether Nova could win 3 consecutive championships, a team that was not originally a favorite to win was about to become the focus on the stage. S2G performed consistently in the first 2 days of competition, always maintaining a position at the top of the leaderboard. And on the final day, S2G changed its conservative tactical strategy and sought to gain more elimination points in the last few rounds. And in the last round, S2G secured the championship with 15 elimination points.
Champion of 2022, it is S2G!
They finally broke through and made history for the EU region.
2022 Dünya Şampiyonası bizi büyük zaferler getirdi. Tabii ki Dünya Şampiyonası başlamadan önce bu zaferlerin geleceği konusunda çok bir fikrimiz yoktu. S2G kadrosunda bazı değişiklikler yapmıştı. Takıma yeni katılan oyuncular vardı. Özellikle Reis ile birlikte takımın form seviyesi gerçekten çok yüksekti. 2022 Dünya Şampiyonası finallerine 2 takım göndermeyi başarmıştık. Bir tanesi S2G, bir tanesi Fireflux. Maalesef 2 takımımızın kaderleri birazcık farklı oldu. İlk günden itibaren S2G sürekli olarak zirveyi kovalarken Fireflux için işler iyi gitmemişti. 3. gün geldiğinde S2G güzel maçlar geçirdi ve şampiyonluğu Türkiye'ye getirmeyi başardı. Bu Türkiye e-spor tarihindeki en unutulmaz başarıydı.
This year, the EU region has continuously produced even more strong teams. First of all, Team Gladiators won first place in the 2023 PUBG Mobile Pro League Spring Regional Championships and third place.
所以我们并不用担心蚯蚓打劫，因为它很快就能自己解开脱困。那接下来我们来点难度大的，把2条蚯。
Subsequently, hot recent teams like Muggles, BRA Esports, Nation Pride, Lucy Morte, among others from EU, have also successfully gotten a spot in PUBGC. They all look forward to continuing the success of the EU region in 2023. There are many questions surrounding PUBGC. Will S2G successfully defend their championship? Will another EU team lift the trophy? Could it even be a team unexpected to win it all? Let's witness it together in Turkey.
Gold Investigator. Join the Investigator team and let's protect the game's fairness together.
2023 Popularity Annual Gala event tutorial. Hey there, welcome to the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala. We've introduced a brand new competition and upgraded rewards. You will have to go through 10 rounds of 1v1 matches and compete to become the first ever PUBG Mobile Popularity Annual Gala champion. So let's get right to it. New competition, ladder competition. The Popularity Annual Gala event will be utilizing a new ladder promotion system. Players' initial ladder grade will be determined by their battle points at the end of the first round. Ladders are divided into 6 grades: Triple S, Double S, S, A, B, and C, with Triple S being the highest. Ladder promotion rules. Players are ranked based on the popularity they gain during the battle period. For rounds 1 to 9, the ladder results are settled at the end of every round's battle. Apart from ladder grade C, each ladder has 100 spots, with the top 20 promoted, the middle 60 retained, and the bottom 20 demoted. If you're trying to move up the ranks, be sure to stay within your ladder's retained threshold or higher before each round is settled. Additionally, ladder grades can only be promoted or demoted by 1 grade at a time, so your performance in the assignment round is crucial. Be sure not to miss it. Final showdown. Based on the rankings from the previous 9 rounds, round 10 will be the decisive showdown to determine the final rank and ladder grade placement, including the champion of the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala, who will emerge as the ultimate winner. New exclusive rewards. At the end of round 10, rewards will be issued based on the player's ladder grade and final rank. For outstanding players, they will receive exclusive rewards that can showcase their supreme honor both in and outside the game. In-game rewards include the honor title, honor name tag, and honor avatar frame, which are sure to make you stand out. Moreover, there are also physical trophies, interviews, custom-made popularity gifts, official social media promotion, game exposure, and other exclusive honorable rewards. Gain global renown both in and outside the game. What are you waiting for? Participate in the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala now.
Welcome back to the PMGC 2023, and this is going to be the last chance stage here. And I'm live in Malaysia, Battle Arena PJ, with me none other than Potato coming out from Alter Ego. Now, starting off our questions and brief interview for the day. Now, for Alter Ego, you guys were PMSL champions back-to-back for 2 seasons, but it feels like there's a lot of challenges for you in the PMGC League stage. What was the biggest difference if you compare during the PMSL and even the PMGC now?
Oke, jadi buat Alter Ego sendiri, kalian itu back-to-back champion di PMSL dan sekarang kamu berada di survival stage PMGC. Jadi apakah perbedaan di antara PMSL dan PMGC itu sendiri?
Oke, kalau perbedaannya menurut kita sih dari segi adaptif di tim-tim global ini ya. Karena dari segi adaptif atau adaptasi mereka sangat-sangat kuat lah. Jadi mereka nggak ada patokan mau gameplay gimana, jadi mereka menyesuaikan dari segi gameplay.
Okay, if you ask me the difference between PMSL and PMGC, most of the team at this PMGC, they know how to adapt with the situation. They don't have like one specific play style or they want to play passive or aggressive. No, they're not doing that. They just adapt with the situation and improvise from there.
So I guess that's the biggest challenge for them as well then. And now, based on yesterday's matches, are there any adjustments? Since today is your last day playing as well, you have to wait for tomorrow. Will there be any adjustment for your team to just make it for the next stage and get a better result?
Oke, jadi buat hari ini adalah hari terakhir buat Alter Ego sendiri. Apakah menurut kamu sendiri ada sesuatu lah yang kamu ngerasa bisa nggak kamu lolos ke survival stage nanti gitu? Apa yang kamu harus lakuin buat kamu lolos ke survival stage?
Apa yang harus kita lakuin sih pastinya lebih ke mematangkan kesalahan kemarin ya. Jadi kita belajar banyak dari kesalahan kemarin. Kita benar-benar adjust lah untuk hari ini karena hari ini kita terakhir bermain dan grup green besok masih grup red dan yellow masih bermain.
Okay, so for me from Alter Ego, we want to do our best. We already touch up our mistake. We already learned from the past, and yes, of course, today group green and versus red, but then red is gonna play in tomorrow. So I think we're gonna perform really well so that group red is not gonna qualify easily to the last chance.
Now I'm gonna touch that for a bit more. Since you mentioned about your mistakes yesterday, and it's so hard to actually identify your mistake in a very short time, can you state out some of the mistakes that's quite major for your team?
Ya, kamu ngomong-ngomong, kamu ada ngomong tentang permasalahan yang terjadi lah, mistake-mistake yang terjadi. Bisa nggak kamu cerita sedikit aja, apa salah satu contoh mistake-mistake yang terjadi di kemarin hari?
Mistake yang kemarin terjadi sih kita belum expect sama keisengan Semnan ya. Jadi benar-benar dari semua map kita benar-benar deket sama dia dan lumayan mengganggu gameplay kita lah.
So the things that I don't expect is the playstyle from Sem9. So that's the mistake that we learned back then is because of our drop spot in every map is quite near with Sem9, and yeah, we don't expect these things gonna happen, and yes, they give us so much trouble.
I mean, that's the unexpected to be happening on the global stage, definitely now. You mentioned about Sem9. Are they one of your greatest threat when it comes to this stage, or will there be somebody else so far?
Kamu ngomong Sem9 nih, kamu mention Sem9. Apakah Sem9 itu salah satu tim yang kamu ngerasa PR terbesar kamu, ataupun ada tim-tim yang lain?
Enggak sih. Karena emang kemarin iseng aja, kita nggak expect dia bakalan main se-iseng itu.
Okay. So basically, it's not really Sem9 is our biggest threat, but then we just don't expect they're gonna play like that.
Okay, we might have more surprises for today, by the way. With tight points among the teams, and you still have a great chance to make it to the last chance stage. What's your focus to improve your rankings since today is your last day? And what do you think is the most important outcome for today's games?
Oke, jadi kalau kita lihat dari point system, poin kalian itu tidaklah terlalu jauh untuk kamu lolos ke ke last chance. Jadi, apakah fokus terbesar yang kamu mau fokusin hari ini supaya kamu bisa lolos ke last chance?
Kita lebih ngemaksimalin tiap game sih. Jadi, kalau tiap game kita mendapatkan hasil yang bagus, poin juga bakalan ikutan bagus juga. Jadi, kita fokus game per game.
Okay, so basically we're gonna focus on each game. We're gonna focus on our first game first. It's because of I believe if we focus on each game, the point will come afterward. So we're just gonna do our best in every single map so that we're gonna maximize our point.
I agree. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time as well. But we're done here on stage live. We're going to toss it back to the casters. Good luck, all the best for all the teams out there competing, especially when it comes to Green Group. Today will be their last day performing, and the next day they have to just wait it out. We're just going to toss it back to the casters. Casters, take it away.
Well, as you heard there, Potato, Alter Ego, and all the teams from Group Green, this is your last chance, your last 6 matches to get as many points as possible and potentially keep yourself in the safe zone. I'm Jason Kaplan, and we got Maxman and Kalaris here on the desk to break down everything happening, obviously, yesterday and what's to come up today. And honestly, Max, well, no, I'm not going to go to you, Max. I'm going to go to Kalaris first. Alter Ego had a rough day, to say the least.
Yes, they did, and I VOD reviewed them quite extensively. So obviously we heard in the interview there that, you know, Sem9 was one of their downfalls. Luckily for them, they're not playing today. However, I think that is not the issue for them. Yesterday, the issue for them in 4 games out of the 6 was unnecessary risks. You think back to the Sandhawk, you get caught in the water, BTR takes you down, you're done. You think, and the other water scenario on Erangel as well, that was not required whatsoever. The first game on Erangel, where they're coming late to the circle, they're trying to go for a central spot. You're too late. Try and play edge instead. Again, another unnecessary risk. And then finally, Sem9 on Erangel being able to take them out when they're trying to find cars, right? So all of these unnecessary risks that they're taking could be easily mitigated if they're just playing a bit more mature PUBG Mobile and trying to play a bit more of a controlled style.
Well, there you go. Before we can hop into some more analysis here, Max, I know you're just ready to talk. Got to remind you guys at home about the Infinix GT10 Pro official smartphone here at PMGC 2023. And while you're on your new lovely device, make sure you check out TikTok with the tag PMGC 2023 to find out some stuff behind the scenes, hopefully some interviews, hopefully anything for you guys to watch. And of course, if you do post about the event, make sure you use the hashtag as well. But Max, as you heard Kalaris break down Alter Ego, there's another team out there we really have to focus our attention on, a team who had a special invite into the group stage. It's G Gladiators.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk about them.
I'm making you talk about them.
I don't know. I want to talk about them. I mean, Gladiators, we expect more, right? I still believe in the Gladiators cheese. They're going to cheese until the very end here, Jason. They're going to maybe qualify to the survival stage, to the last chance, should I say, with just a few points. But I want to look onto other teams possibly, because we got also a big shift of groups, right? And one of the few teams that's been added to the mix today, I'm especially excited to see play, is going to be Enigma Galaxy. They played exceptionally well back in their Group Red, and especially with Coops, he was the second top fragger of his group. One of the best pickups, I would say, in the entire year of PUBG Mobile Esport, right? With how they are able to take these fights now, how aggressive they are. I'm especially interested to see how they're going to fight for their spot in Pachinki on the Wrangle against, I believe it's Deek Xavier, how that really unfolds. But Enigma Galaxy has to be one of the teams that everyone is looking at to qualify for the grand finals, so they're a very big favorite for me here going in these matches.
I'm hyped for them. I'm also hyped for Duxan as well, because South Korea, let's go. Here we are.
Oh.
They're awesome. They're awesome. And I mean, to be fair, they had a great start to their group initially, and they kind of fell off slowly as time went on. But I've said it multiple times, as South Korea constantly gets more and more days, more games on the board, they're great at assimilating information. All of their teams, all of the teams that qualify for PMGC. So I'm hoping for Duxan to prove big here again today.
That was great analysis about Gladiators, by the way.
I was going to say, well, that's great stuff to talk about, obviously, Enigma Galaxy and Duxan. But, Max, I really want to hammer home about Gladiators here. My attention actually are over towards potentially Inco Gaming, because obviously they've seen their brethren teams of Alpha 7, of Loops, of Influence Rage perform pretty well. I'm curious to see if they can rise up and be another Brazilian strong power team. But also, and Hyper, because the roster they ended up fielding in Group Red wasn't the roster they ended up fielding in Americas, or the team they ended up fielding in North America PMPL. I mean, to be fair, GFan on the roster was surprised to see them do so well in the group, considering GFan's kind of been out of the team for a while now. But they have, I guess, a lot of pressure coming their way from North America in general, considering they're our only representative. And I don't know. It's going to be tough, man. That's all I can say.
I know that Xifan is watching a lot of, doing a lot of viewer parties, watching all of the different regions. So I think that might have helped out, actually, because he knows kind of what to expect in these matches against all these different teams, how they're going to rotate, and how these matches are going to be unfolding. So maybe that has been helping them out quite a bit. But it can't help you against the domination of Brazil right now, because Influence Rage are just running away with it. And as you said already, talking about Inco, Jason, they have already played at this stage. Nenebich in particular, one of my favorite players of the region, that I would like to see them potentially climb up. But that would be too many Brazilian teams almost in the grand finals. They can't beat all of them. That's not possible.
Or could it? I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, still a lot to come up down the way. But we can see a comparison here of Mad Bulls up against Enigma Galaxy. And Mad Bulls obviously struggling when it came to placement points, able to put up a ton of eliminations and obviously double chicken dinners as well. We could see just obviously the performance when it came to group stage quite different when it came to eliminations.
For me, Enigma Galaxy, I do feel like they were the one surprise for me, especially out of Group Red, to not advance through to the grand final straight away. I mean, they just fell short of Morph by a few points here and there because Enigma Galaxy had a great start, and we know this team as a very formidable roster. I mean, I think a lot of people put a lot of stock in if Coops is gone, then if he's eliminated early, then maybe they don't have much legs to stand on, but I don't necessarily hugely agree with that. Of course, he is a force to be reckoned with, right? And somebody that is going to be sitting very strongly with him, as you can see here with the 43 eliminations. But this team still is able to play a macro game, even if Coops is gone. It's just that he is quite the powerhouse to speak of.
I mean, thinking back to PMWI, Max, we did see Coops kind of be similar to Nomi, similar to Matic. He was kind of off by himself, but also the funny thing was he was the tip of the spear, it seemed, in most parts. He would be like the first one to cross the rows to get position for his team, but he'd be so confident and so successful to be able to do that it allowed Enigma Galaxy to kind of adapt their style quite a bit to how Coops can perform to his best.
If you're Enigma Galaxy, you don't need an IGL. You just need to, Coops is engaged, we just follow Coops.
Enable him.
No, just enable Coops, exactly, to kind of take these fights, because clearly, as you said, he is the spearhead of these scenarios. He is the one that is leading the charge for this fight, and a lot of the time it's very successful when it works out that way. And the rest of the team, sure, they can frag out. We know Lord, we know Freak, we know how Rauf can also pop off in these matches, but clearly it's just the setup around Coops. If he gets knocked, pick him up. You want to keep him alive as much as possible, which is what I wanted to see almost from Quest with Al-Hajj, but it's just not been the case. Al-Hajj has been going out early, so it goes to show how important it is to keep a star player like Coops alive until the very end, because it increases your odds of winning those matches pretty significantly. So yeah, I hope that it's going to work out for them, though. If you're looking also on this graphic, Radio Seal, currently Reject, we had some great moments, right, Kalaris, in the group stage, but they've been a little bit invisible currently at the start of this tournament. There's still a bit of time for them to come back and hopefully qualify for the last chance, but Reject have not had the start I was expecting, and that might be also off the back of that long break between Group Green and now this point of the tournament.
Honestly, I have a bit of a grim outlook for Group Green, in my opinion, once we take a look at some of the highlights, because, I mean, you've got 6 of their teams not able to make it happen yesterday, right? I think Alter Ego was the top out of those 6 teams with 22 points, and that's kind of why I focused on them a little bit in my VOD review from day to day, because I do feel like Alter Ego is the one that can try and get out of that rut that Group Green has put themselves in yesterday, because it is their last chance today. So much so that I do believe that Alter Ego will make some big changes coming in today. Like, for example, I think that they're going to go north on Sandhawk because N-Hyper goes down towards Camp Charlie, which was a backup drop since they moved away from that northwest island, for example. So we'll see if that actually pans out here today. But yeah, I think they've got a tall mountain to climb as Group Green today, for the most part.
I will say this, I'm 100% in agreement with you, Kalaris, but one thing we can't forget about is that the difference between 16th place and 8th place is 15 points. Now, obviously, if you're Melissa in the situation, that's over doubling your points, but it's not that big of a gap at the moment, so it's really going to come down to those potential 1, 2, 3 points. That means whether you're into the last chance or your unfortunate PMGC run will be done. So it's still extremely close, but yeah, it is kind of eye-opening, Max, as we look at Group Green just struggling down towards the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, actually, I got a few numbers right now. Group Yellow, on average, have 40.5 points. Group Green have 26.3. So there's a pretty significant disparity between the teams that are between these two groups. It is going to be a bit rough. There's room for them to, of course, catch up here, but as we know, for the survival stage, it's only 2 days. The team of Group Green only have 6 matches remaining to have an impact on the leaderboards. And after, I mean, Kalaris in esports, this is always the worst scenario to be in. You just got to stay and watch and just hope that the other teams around you don't perform well, which is the most insane situation to be in, because you just cannot have the impact you're hoping for anymore.
No, for sure. It's a terrifying prospect to actually kind of stare down. For Rejects, of course, I think that obviously right now they got themselves 17 points yesterday. Compare that to the group stage that they had, which was 188 points in total. For me, I don't know if 2 days is enough for Rejects and rotating lobbies for them to gain traction, because Rejects' performances came in the latter stages of their group as a whole, compared to some of the earlier days and the earlier results. That said, as well, there's some uncharacteristic numbers that came out from yesterday. Precision, for example, only 10 eliminations across 6 games. This is a team that can get that in one game, no problem, considering what we saw from them in the group stage. So my eyes are also on them, aside from Alter Ego, because I just think that they're capable of more.
100%. I completely agree, and unfortunately, we're just not seeing out of them and the Twins. But you know what? Obviously, rotating groups. I think for me, as you kind of mentioned, right? Like we have rotating groups. It kind of doesn't favor some of the teams. But for me, PMGC is always about finding the best all-around team, because there's so many different kind of mini tournaments within tournaments, right? You have your group stage where you play out the same teams over the course of 3-4 days. Then you have this event where you have rotating groups. You have to be adaptive. Then you get to the grand finals where it's going to be a sprint, or I guess the last stage coming up in just 2 days, where it's really a sprint, right? With just 2 days of play. You got to be good all around, and we're going to find the team to be just that, hopefully, very, very soon. But one team I did want to focus on, just really quickly, because I want to throw this out there in case it happens. Influence Rage. You're so far in the lead, there should be no chance you're ever going to fall into the bottom 8. Do you start to hot drop on some teams' potential, or start to kind of put yourself in rotational paths of some of the teams, well, not obviously not them because they're not playing here, maybe Mad Bulls is a better case in the situation, to punish teams and prevent them from potentially qualifying? Because Influence Rage will come tomorrow, Mad Bulls is today.
We always theorize this, and it pretty much never happens, right?
But I want to see it!
You want to see it, okay, but are the teams going to take that risk? I'm not quite sure. You could do it if you want at the second half of the day. I think now is a bit early to do that. You're safe. You're not 100% safe, so just...
Mad Bulls? You don't...
I mean, for Influence Rage, I would just say, just play the half of the day, just chill, normal. Then if you want, and see how it happens. I think the earlier you do it, the more responsive teams are going to be to that, and they're going to adapt around you, potentially hot dropping them, right? So if you Influence Rage, Mad Bulls, BTR, maybe you want to take a bit more time before going for a play like that. I don't know who you'd want to pick out. Maybe Rejects, maybe also Gladiators right now could be a team to take down. I don't know. Could be.
I have a thought. I do think Mad Bulls is relatively safe. I mean, considering that I think that the performance will continue here throughout the day. I think if you were going to target anybody based on these two groups alone, I wouldn't even mind looking towards Procedure for on Erangel. If you think about their potential rotational paths from something like Yasnaya going up against kind of Rozog, sometimes those can potentially clash from time to time, and Erangel is the most, as we all do our little things. Please sir, I want to be next. You know, I think that could be a target. If they were going to do something, I don't know whether they will though.
I'd even go on Alter Ego, to be honest. I think that would be a good team to take down.
Maybe.
They could be a threat.
I mean, that's a good point. If you prevent people from hot dropping you when we get into the last chance stage, then it means your position's going to be a lot cleaner. You're limited in games. You have a better chance of qualifying through. But let's see what's going to break down as we're heading to our first match of the day with Sandhawk. Going to throw it over to our commentators, so Jack and Blink, to take it away.
Thank you, Jason. Oh, it's exciting already, because I kind of like the way you can see we're all there in anticipation. It was cool. I like the way you kind of had, you know, we're in school blank. We want to get our opinions.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Because even me and you were speculating, we're theory crafting. It's sick, man. This week's going to be so damn good. Like, the quality of games yesterday was great. If that carries on, I'm living for it, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a little chat behind the scenes there. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a lot to talk about here. You know, you have some of these groups here that are now playing their last day. It's Group Green. This is their final day today before we head in towards tomorrow. Everyone gets 2 days of play between both the survival stage and that last chance. And some of the players, some of the teams in Group Green are in real danger right now. It's a stressful experience. U-Do Alliance, they look happy, they look ready to go, they look very, very excited to get things on the road here. They had a pretty good upwards trend over in their group. Didn't start off so strong, but ended it quite significantly well. Obviously not getting in towards that direct invite stage, but yeah, for Group Green, things do get a little tough here. And you know, we were chatting about, like, you know, there was really only a couple of teams from Group Green that we actually thought were fairly decent towards the end of it, and it kind of felt like the group of death. But the more we look into it, the more we see there's actually some very, very good teams in some of these other groups that definitely deserve more praise.
Absolutely. I think that's sort of the speculation that we had when we came to this agreement. You know, like, looking back on it, in retrospect about the rose-tinted goggles or green-tinted goggles, really, the upper echelons of that group were absolute masterclass, right? Even Reject Tokyo can be lumped in with that, with how well they were playing over that week. But since coming into this, well, hang on a minute, hold that thought. It seems that hot drops are happening, Blank. What's going on here? Straight into the action. Is that Mad Balls under pressure already?
It is Inco versus Mad Balls here. And we saw this versus Mad Balls in the very first day of their group versus Falcons. They lost their hot drop, but they're used to it now. They're expecting something to go off. They've already found one knock off the bat here. Let's see if they can find any more, Jackie.
How far can they go with this then? Fleek getting the reload off instantly, trying to assess the situation. Now, Mad Balls always feel like they were hit with pressure on Sanhok. Even back in regulation of Group Green, they were being tested for control. Inco are the ones that are starting to show up here, though. Early damage done. Fleek down by the DBS. Another knock coming in, Blank. Bit of a trade, but now we're seeing them both be severed. Lots of damage across either squad now.
It was one apiece, but Inco were able to get that res off there. Vitali will finish off Fleek in the meantime. Zerich desperately trying to hold his own. Becker trying to head down the stairs. Nice little peek out coming through from Inco. Only one Mad Bull left remaining, but it's Tulika. He was having a fantastic day yesterday. Not about to let this game slip out of his hands, but he's only got one teammate left to bring up. But a huge amount of damage onto Squash. Last player alive, Tulika. Can he clutch this out?
Oh, is it going to be burned clutch like a used car salesman? Drop down for Squash, seeing if he can clear his way through as the bullets come flying. Tulika calls for the backup of his teammates, rotating further over so he's got room to try and pick him up later if possible. Doesn't peek off the back of the bait of the movement either, so Squash still holding. Frozen expires, and it's all on Tulika for good. No chance of getting his teammates back, so worst case scenario has happened here. Even if either one of these solos get away and give up the final elim, you have crippled yourself coming into the opening game today. And this is it, Blank. They've got to roll with the punches now.
Yeah, Nima Galaxy also having a little peek in here with Ralph off in the distance alongside of his teammate. So this fight is not going to go well either way for both squads right now. Tulika is on the broadside, will be spotted almost immediately. This shotgun that Squash has found himself alongside with the SK-12 that he's currently holding on to, it is just stressful to deal with now for Tulika indeed. One shot will be enough to take him down unless he's at distance, but for the Mad Bulls, this is still sort of an important fight to win out on, right? You do not want to be losing your spot in Ruins. You don't want people to be feeling like you're an easy prey come towards that direct invite towards the PMGC, that global championship. So for anyone watching, all the other teams are already qualified. You know, Mad Bulls having to put on a bit of a performance here, a bit of a display. Goodbye. And with that, Tulika will move onwards. Ralph takes out the final player there from Inco. Difficult stuff ahead now for Tulika himself. Be moving forward here, Jackie.
Oh man, that is a rough way to start this off, Blank. You know, we're coming into it thinking that we have time to speculate, give a bit of a lay of the land, if you will, for our viewers at home. We got Jason's favourite, just what he ordered, you know, fresh from the oven there, the hot drop specialty. Mad Balls just walking away with just the one man as well. The worst case scenario, really, Blank. And then a third party to steal that last elim. Ooh, wrap that up in a neat little package. If that isn't a little taster of the sort of shenanigans we're going to be seeing today, then I don't know what would be. You know, maybe like a beef stroganoff.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, some of these squads, right, it was kind of interesting because we were sort of speculating, is Mad Balls going to want to hot drop? In the end, they have to, but it's Inco who does engage that. And I think for Inco, maybe not the greatest thing to happen. I mean, we were talking about how, you know, here on Sanhok, you do want to try and get as many points as possible, squeeze out as much as possible from this map, because you're only going to see one of it anyway. You don't want to go heavy on these games. Tixie all by his lonesome here. No one else to help him. He's got a DBS versus the three-man squad here of Quest.
easy, straight around the corner. Easy two-pump, double barrel action. Straight into the face of Kitsune as well. Causes him to go bounding around like a very aggressive bunny rabbit. And he's put the foot down, Blank. At least hits onto a one. The sprint out as well. Basically just offering themselves up as sacrifice there. Those are some freebies for Gladiators. You get the response in as well for the situation. Get everyone back on their feet. You're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, you got to be really, really pleased with the fact that Tixie's able to hold his own on this compound. It is typically where Tixie does play as well, over towards this eastern side, able for the rest of the team to get over towards him as well. And I think that that is nice. That's a nice regroup coming through from Gladiators. A lot of times they've been fairly slow on that approach. If one player is all on his lonesome, backup doesn't come half as quick enough a lot of times. So for Tixie, he is thanking his teammates, clapping them on the back there. That is a very, very pleasing result for Gladiators. Not so much for Quest, currently on 13 points. It's not really looking too good for this team, even after the absolute mad plays we saw from Al Haji yesterday. I don't know how much further Quest is going to be able to get into this tournament, but I think next year is going to be a really good year for Al Haji, no matter what team he's on.
I think they've done well, at least in kind of winning the hearts of the fans a little bit as well, with the time we've seen from them on camera, the way they've come across in their interviews, and the resilience we saw, at least in regulation, back in Group Green, right? You know, for them to actually fight through and even still be in the tournament in a position where we can still be talking about them right now, Blank, at least for me, was impressive. It just felt like there was a little bit of room for them to get another step forward. It's a shame how some of the games have gone for Quest, especially yesterday. It was rough. It was raw. Misery back on screens here, though. Evos instantly aggressing, looking to try and build themselves a few points on this one. Misery got the early knock off with the UMP. Redface and Co now moving in to clear out the upper compound as well, and flushing their way through anyone that dares to peek into them.
Yeah, it's a nice little fight there from Pasija Evos versus Enhyper, leaving them down to one player now. And I think for Pasija Evos, this is very well set up. Yesterday didn't look too great for Pasija Evos. I mean, they were doing extremely well over in our group stage, but kind of fell off just a little bit there towards our first day of play for Group Green. 21 points, though. It's not terrible. It's not ideal either, but it's good enough. Pasija Evos, it is just Misery now coming up against some of the players here from NASA. Xenox will open things up.
And what more can he get done? Bullets down range early on. It's good high ground, good position to be in. They've got a great understanding of where exactly they could be potentially fought from. Bit of a move on the go here as well, as we see the rotation from Evos off the back of their cleanup. Now finding a bit of a safer compound to play in, but they've been startled, detected from across the road. We're lying in wait. It's Melise of all squads. Hit and miss yesterday, Blank. Honestly, to be fair with you, mate, I feel like we saw a truer test of them, at least in Group Green. You know, from what we saw yesterday, it felt like they were struggling a little bit. Even CEO later, there were times where it felt like this guy was a bit of a one-man army. I don't feel like he was as quick to the mark yesterday. I'm hoping, obviously, with a day of rest, you've come back in a little bit more fresh face today. Would like to see some improvements from them today.
Yeah, I mean, for the Turkish squad, it's just a little bit difficult for them at the moment. I mean, they've been making a lot of right moves. And I think for an edge team that likes to kind of read into opponents' movements around the map and cut the legs out from underneath them, they did a good job of it in terms of theory, right? In theory, where they were playing, it was all fantastic. Then they were going down to these engagements. They weren't always able to win it out very cleanly with a four-man squad going onwards and just clearing from there. And they ended up just losing games very early on. And this kind of the risk with playing edge a lot of times whilst you're holding out and guarding those edge sides is that if you get into an engagement there, you lose it, right? There's not much chance of getting very much further into the game. For other teams that like to leapfrog from edge and then send towards a kind of a middling position between the center of the circle and the outer side of it, you have much more chance to get further into the game and maybe pick yourself some pretty consistent placement points off the back of it. And we had a really good conversation as well yesterday, or even this morning, actually, bloody hell, mixing up my time zones. It's all going so quickly right now, where we were talking about, you know, look, some of these teams yesterday just came out absolutely swinging, and I think in this format you have to, whereas other teams sort of got in their own heads a bit.
Yeah, that was one of the big focal points we were kind of sort of umming and ahhing over, about how you could see the difference of, let's say, a team like Influence Rage, who came out just playing their style, just absolutely giving it, right? Any opportunity they had to just swing on a fight, play confidently, going into an engagement basically thinking, you know, we've already won this. They're just thinking about the points being in their pocket. You're going to have so much more of a better time of it than going into it giving so much respect to teams, overthinking these situations. And we've seen that change. A lot of our squads from Group Green, it feels like their play styles have kind of flip-flopped more so than anything compared to what we were seeing during that regular point. This is an interesting one, actually kind of ties into that. You can see here, Reject Tokyo at least getting a bit more confidence to fight and contest for center control. A little bit lucky there in terms of the draw of the circle, but it works out. You've got a compound, you're in a good spot, and they're going to be pleased with this, mate. They'll be chuffed with that blank, because when they had center control, when they felt comfortable early in a compound, this is where we saw some of the better games from Reject, because honestly, they're great on defense, good comms. It just felt like getting there was rough for them. They've been playing a lot of edge, and it hadn't been working out too well. I'd hope that would be a positive change. Bit of a fight potentially developing here as well. You've got the push up the hill. Focus is drawn from NASA towards the backside, but a few bullets whizzing on by. Room for a bit of a scrap here.
Yeah, I think for Enigma Galaxy as well as Nisa, this is a case where potentially Enigma Galaxy will just think about just swinging wide of this, potentially trying to get in underneath towards Painan. I think Enigma Galaxy is a team that is very well known for some of their more smart rotations. A little bit of a scout there from Ralph. He's in very much danger now of taking a knock. Luckily, the vehicle is going at a strong 90 miles per hour. Alter Ego zooming in towards where Reject is playing. Already Octa gets taken down here. They try and take control of one edge, but Reject has penned them in, locks them into one location. Now the nades can start to come through. There's a lot of damage off the back there. In the meantime, Duxan does take down Ralph. We talked about him earlier being very, very low.
Pins pulled on the nades for Alter Ego, looking to see if maybe there's a way they can defend themselves with these bad boys. Problem is they've already taken so much damage. Reject Tokyo setting themselves up. They're trying to reset in terms of the defense and readjust what positions they're playing from so they can support each other a little bit easier. There is nades in play as well. Reject Tokyo normally very good on lining up those double nades. That could be something to come back towards. For now, we'll see what's happening up on the hillside as well. There's been a bit of commotion here. Teams have been making their presence known, and that high ground control is going to be worth its weight in gold the longer this one goes on. So pressure being applied there. Rotation coming in as well. You've got Alliance on the move as they start to make their way over. Drop in the smoke so they've actually got some cover to work with. And you'd need it because Melissa are close by and they're eagle-eyed, Blank. They've got eyes like a hawk.
Yeah, for Yudu, this is probably one of the toughest rotates currently happening on around the map, where they're sort of locked in between DX as well as Malise Esports, and DX has a fantastic control of his high ground. Something we saw a lot from them yesterday is identifying some very strong positions on the map, but also being really good at holding them down. Not necessarily always in compounds, just in certain areas of the map where they have that high ground control. They can play around a little bit of hard cover and go from there. Circle moves very hard towards that north side. Now, that is a little bit of grace given towards MB Esports. They can use that to their advantage. You do Alliance, they take a knock in Flax, and a quick heal goes over towards Fatar there. So very, very immediate response from Yudu Alliance, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. I think they're just caught on with the worst end of the stick out of the lobby. Probably the only team that's going to suffer in the next minute or so, I would say. Malise Esports on this side of the map. Now Kisyu does go down. Poser has a nade in hand. We'll send it over towards Nisa, but Malise Esports again just crumbling a lot during these days. Again, Nisa, 5 eliminations found so far. Really, really good stuff from them. I think this is interesting because it is a lot of these squads that we see a fair few times that just come into these games swinging. They tend to do well, and I would say that this is a very, very good and promising mark of the game going forward here, Jackie.
I'd agree with you, man. It feels like, actually, we're getting into a bit of a groove now, a bit of a stride for some of our teams. A lot more aggression displayed early game as well here with the culmination of the two groups we have in today's lobby for survival stage. Now, they were being pulled and pushed in multiple directions here. It felt like they weren't quite sure which fight they wanted to set their gaze on, but now they've been thrust into one. They have to try and survive, taking a ton of damage up against the Evos. Good lay of the land from Link as well. Knows to look towards the distance, can see just over the ridge side where his next opponent is coming from. They've got an understanding of where exactly he's playing towards, but with the bullets connecting, they're going to start to farm up these E-limbs. Melise, meanwhile, are crashing down as well. This is Udo Alliance still trying to push over that hill. They've been doing this for quite some time, Blank, and maybe it's going to start to work out. Nice connection onto Levites. He's dropped and finished off for good, and they're still pushing in.
Yeah, Cluck's doing a really good job here. I actually like the thought process we saw from Udo Alliance. Unfortunately for them, DX follow them down on that south side, which is a really cool play from DX. You don't a lot of times see teams chasing on this situation. In the meantime, Reject desperately trying to hold on towards their central compound. They left it, they moved towards that north side, but they did face off versus FaZe. But they're currently still in a strong position. Gladiators, for them, this game is very, very important. They already started things off really well with a 4 Limmer. It would be absolutely strange and weird circumstance that we see Gladiators get the majority of their points done on Sandhawk. As we know, they are horrid at this map. This is a map that they do not find a lot of success on, but already they're up to 7 eliminations. With 4 players alive, this is starting to be a really good run for them.
There's an itch in the back of my brain just reminding me of one of the Sandhawk games we saw from Gladiators quite some time ago, Blank. And I just remember it starting off in the same kind of way. When the pressure's on Gladiators, when it feels like, the story's not going to happen, the crazy comeback towards the end is never going to be there. It feels like finally that Cinderella story won't be written. Something like this happens. We've seen it before on Sandhawk. I don't know what causes them to play like this sometimes, but they've certainly had their breakfast this morning, and they're coming out with some fibrous maneuvers, looking very solid in the moves they're making. 7 elims to the name, Blank. How much longevity have they got on this one? We'll keep our eyes on it because Gladiators need a good game, and the individuals are playing to prove that.
Yeah, they desperately do. Right now, facing off versus Duxan, not an easy team to go up against. MB Esports, they lose Fistboy on a knock. That's to DX, who are doing a really good job over on this eastern side, just clearing their way through. Up to 3 eliminations now. Alter Ego also chiming in. Bit of a better rotate from them over towards this south side, able to take over that compound that Reject were holding on to. I think a lot of that comes off the back of the fact that Gladiator was able to get some really good pop shots between the windows, knock some of the players from Reject. Very much slow them down, bog them down. More nades sailing in from Gladiators, taking out the remainder now of Duxan. FaZe spots out some of the players from Gladiators, will take some pot shots towards them, over towards that western side. Chow gives his life for the rest of the team, but it's just Paragin now. With Lamborghini down, he is able to get in, but this is more of a survival game for them. Great circle here for the Gladiators. The last minute men, as usual, very much feels like back towards my university days where the deadline's looming and then suddenly I'm in the library for 24 hours.
That's how it always goes with Gladiators, man. I sympathize them with a lot, Blank. I'm the same. Unless the deadline's there, it's not getting done. And that's the way they play. And honestly, it's working wonders for them right now. Again, with every time we're looking over to them, they're starting to build up more elims. And like you're saying, zone-wise as well, they're in a good position to make a play off this. The one awkward encounter in the dead center as well is Reject Tokyo, now basically being the Reject duo, with all of FaZe in full force around them as well. So not really what you want to be. A bit of flat sharing going on, and that's illegal. It's called subletting, Blank. FaZe are going to clap back onto DX as well, finding a way to peek through the windows. An assault onto Paragin. That's an unlucky knock.
Yeah, I think right now, even though he's able to get Lamborghini up, it was kind of for nothing. This little high ground the Gladiators currently have control of was so fortuitous that they got the circle on this side. Coming off that high ground is very difficult, so they're trying to milk it for as much as they can here, stay on this top side. But it's MB Esports coming in to try and challenge us for now. Gladiators need to be ready for this one. Kitsune luckily is in position as the DBS, only able to find one though, and that's not quite enough. The rest of the team instantly needs to improvise improvise off the back of this. Sek and Mondo are down, so it's a decent start. The nades start pouring in, and it's a nice nade on the backside towards Fistboy. Just a Kaze left remaining, and Gladiators quickly clean them up there. Up to 12 eliminations now, Jackie. A fantastic start. Tixie's flying through the air. Matic is on the support.
Oh, mate. This is perfection put together so precisely from Gladiators right now. That was beautiful. The nade work to defend after the crash was on point, and then straight back into hungering for more elims. The peek down the hill, beautiful connection on the aim skill as well, and we get left with our final 4. A scrappy one at that as well, Blank. Alter Ego still alive. They were able to find what remained of Mad Bulls and shut them down, but they've now had the same done to them. Peek out from Sarah Biceps, and with a smooth right hook, he's wiped them off the face of the battleground. 3 squads remain.
Gladiators currently on the outside edge right now. It's FaZe with a very strong position. Alter Ego still need to work their way in as well, but they went out earlier on. Reject holding on. It's a good little game for them, but for the Gladiators, more points would be absolutely gorgeous for them here. If they can win out this game, they'll send themselves tumbling towards that top side of the lobby after just one match. So 20 points. Realistically, if they can get themselves 25 after this, they'll be very, very safe. It'll give them a buffer. They still will need to put in the work after the rest of the day, but they'll be in so much better stead. And taking that pressure off yourself this early on in the day is so, so nice.
Taking the pressure off themselves and applying it to Reject Tokyo. Problem is, though, it's not going to turn them into diamonds. It seems like they will instead just buckle under the pressure. Bit of a peek out here from FaZe, though, as Gladiators encroach further on the compound, closing in on them, using their utility to try and blow Lufa out of the equation. Nade after nade barreling through. Swing from FaZe on the stairway as well, and that connects. Meku left black and blue, down on his last legs now as they first onto him. Gladiators with only a duo remaining, Blank.
I think regardless of what happens there, I think Gladiators are fairly pleased with this result, right? Meku was always left behind to try and help the rest of the team get further up. Now it's Matic in a 1v3 scenario. It's going to be very difficult for him to pull this type of thing off. Goes for the pre-fire as the circle starts to push all these players in. Has an idea of where they're swinging. This rock is really nice to play around, but Onzen, he's on the prowl, and it will be found by the rest of the team. Mormon finishes off Matic. Regardless, FaZe picks himself a nice win from a very easy rotate on that north side, but for Gladiators, that could have been a lot more for them. Either way, I think it was around about 15 eliminations they finished that game with the 6 points on top of it. 21 points is just a very, very nice start for them. And you know what? Jason might have been right to bring them up at the start of the day.
It's crazy, isn't it? You know, we sit there, Jason brings out all his storylines that you think are never going to happen. And I think we hit the mark for 3 out of 3 of Jason predictions all in one game. So he's doing well today, Blank. He's doing well. Oh, look at the dance.
He's happy. He's pleased with that one. I mean, starting off the day with a win here for Mela is really, really nice for him. He's got his hot water bottle in hand as well, mate.
Oh, yes.
Taking the heat to the next level.
This is why FaZe are winning. No, they're bringing the heat in. They're warm. Exactly, Blank. That's madness. They got the moves inside and outside of the battleground, and they got the chicken dinner to boot as well. Can't turn your nose up at that one, but I think we do have to give a little bit of eyesight over towards Gladiators, looking at the stats in terms of what they got up to on that one as well.
Yeah.
That's a big game from them, right? They're actually fragging as well, Blank, which I think makes the world of difference in the sense of confidence. It's what we were talking about way back at the start of the game. At least now, having a high elim game, it should perk you up a little bit. You're not going to feel so somber throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the teamwork looked really, really good there from the Gladiators towards the end, and that's what you want to see overall. In the meantime, we're going to send you back over to the other team over on the desk.
The desk team, the best team here. Like FaZe could get their victory on the board here, starting things off strong for Group Red. But to be honest, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of working parts in this one that allowed quite a few other teams to have some decent results. You know, Max, I know you didn't want to talk about him at the start of the day, but I'm going to make you talk about him now. It's G Gladiators.
Okay, you know what? They got himself some
Give you that much, Jason. I think Kalaris was talking about that. The eliminations kind of got fed to them in weird ways, especially that fight versus Quest. Alter Ego changing their drop location to the Eastern Island, and Mad Bulls fighting Inko, which means that their rotation path here, Jason, is completely free. Even if you rotate late, you can make it through Trifecta, you can get access to Bootcamp Hill, and off the back of that, they can just start blasting at so many other teams like Duxan, Alter Ego, and get 15 eliminations on the board. They needed those points here because they were in a tough spot before here, and they already doubled their points. They had 20 points before this match, and now extra 21. That is massive for Gladiators.
That might be exactly what they need to get themselves in more of a safer position, considering this is their last day of play overall. But another team we have to dive into here is Reject in particular, because the position they had, we were watching a little bit of a disagreement between you and Max in terms of what Reject decided to do as his own tried to center up on FaZe.
So I think that they were trying to make the game-winning play, right? Like with some of their moves. They start in Trifecta, they had a 2-2, and they go to the compound, which in our region we see always as a focus point for some of these circles mid-Sandhawk. Now, they realized Alter Ego's coming in behind them. They made a ridiculous blitz through. It was risky, but they actually got a lot of points from it, 8 points in total. That's by the by. Rejects here from this point on tries to leave this compound and go north towards FaZe. I think they already took one elimination off of FaZe, so they knew that they were weakened, or in a weakened state, but it was very slow, very unsuccessful trying to breach the position of FaZe here. So I like that Rejects was trying a winning move, but it materialized. At least they got high up in this game, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that the situation they were in with Alter Ego playing the Road Trifecta compound is you want to work with Alter Ego and stay in that compound for as long as possible to gatekeep other potential threats later on down the line. If you stay there with Alter Ego, you eliminate Nemo Galaxy, Deke Xavier, Duxan. You can also maybe eliminate some players of Gladiators as they get pushed down Bootcamp Hill, and off the back of that, you can transition through the rocks, maybe make over to FaZe. I think that was the better approach, but to be honest, the moment Deke Xavier died, right, Kalaris, they could play those rocks and survive super fine to the match. So it ended up working out, but I think there was maybe another option available. But that's the cool thing. There's so many ways to play it that you don't know which one might be the best at the end.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, like a symbiotic relationship in that compound for a little while. The thing I look at it is that they got third in this game, and would they have probably have got third if they'd have stayed in that compound as well? Yeah, probably. Yeah. But would they have got first? Almost absolutely not. So I think that, you know, they were trying to go for it all, and obviously it didn't pan out.
Yeah, and again, trying to make those plays that are really important for them, considering Reject coming into this one from Group Green. So they only have, well, now 5 matches left to go. They have to get as many points as possible. They have to make sure that to make the right decisions, though, as we did look at a drop as well between Mad Bulls and Inko. And Mad Bulls, a team that it really doesn't matter for them, right? They're pretty much safe into the last chance. For Inko, though, at least them trying to scrape by as many points as possible. I think they got 3 with the eliminations. They're realizing, okay, well, this is not going to work out. Let's try to salvage with something, but they have to maybe look forward now to the next 5 matches.
Yeah, don't forget the best part of that fight here, Jason, is just Rauf coming like, sit down. just get rid of them right.
That was a good bit.
That was a good bit right there. But yeah, it's a hot drop. It is normally Inko that would have to change that drop because Mad Bulls, as you touched upon, Kalaris, during that game, are already so comfortable. It is currently their fight to win currently in that position. If they win it, they clear it for the last chance. And Inko, they're just going to be maybe completely out of that position from the get-go. So yeah, Inko, cool. It's fair enough. There's only 1 of these maps per day. But you might want to try and think of avoiding those as much as possible because it can really impact your results over only 2 days worth of play. That is such a small amount of time that these hot drops can really impact your position.
Yeah, it would be even especially more huge if there was more than 1 Sandhawk per day, right? But there's very little interest in giving up your position when you've done as well as you did like yesterday as Mad Bulls.
One thing I do want to mention really quickly, because you said it while we were watching the game, and I kind of really liked the idea of it. We did see Alter Ego change the drop location, as was mentioned already on the desk here. They went up towards Cow. But then when the zone started to shift away from Corey, more centralized, and they were on the east side of Corey, you were talking about what do they do here in this position. And Clarence, I wanted you to bring that up just really quickly.
Yeah, again, they're just playing really risky PUBG Mobile. Like going for these wide rotates, going up against Quarry, which is a very difficult place to transition away from. They have to bomb it through to try and make something happen. If they'd have come in from the north, it might have just been an easier time. But yeah, they did all right. But it's, again, very risky PUBG Mobile here.
Yeah. High risk, potentially high reward for Alter Ego, who desperately need every single point they possibly can in our final 5 matches. And it's time to head into our second match of the day, which is our first Erangel of the day with Jackie and Blake.
Ooh, the first of the 3 Erangels. This is good. This is always my favourite Porsche and Blanc, because it feels like we start to get the more nuanced games, right, where we can kind of expect the more unexpected. But this lobby's already looking kind of wild, so we'll see what we get, Blanc. We'll see what we get. Room for some treats.
Yeah, I think that the guys on the desk touch on a really important point here, is that for some of these teams, you know, specifically what Kalaris was talking about really interested me in the sense that, you know, Reject, they go for the game-winning play at the end of the day. And I think you have to do that now. You really do have to go for these sort of things, because honestly, for Group Green, we know that this is their last day of play to get in towards that survival stage, not be in the bottom 8. And again, because you are the group that's playing the first 2 days in a row, you don't play the last day, you don't really know what marker you're aiming for, right? You don't know where that bullseye lies, because no one is on that 16th position where it's just fixed, and you can think to yourself, we only need to get this amount of points to get in. So you have to push it to the max every single game, and I think that some teams are realizing, I would say too late at this point in time in Group Green, that they have to go for these game-winning moves. That had to come through yesterday. It absolutely had to come through yesterday. I think Mad Bulls took their fate into their own hands very quickly, as did Influence Rage, who have more than secured their position over towards the last chance phase. At this point, I think they have 77 points, something ridiculous at this point in time. So I think for some of these teams, maybe it's coming through too late. You need a little bit of luck today. You need to really hit your shots. You need to be making strong rotations, and maybe, just maybe, able to bump those points up just enough. I think for Quest, that instant elimination at the start of the day there on Sandhawk versus a team that most people regard as not the greatest Sandhawk team, will really knock their confidence in a big way. We know Quest made it in by the skin of their teeth, literally 1 point in Group Green to get towards that survival stage. I don't know if that sort of playstyle is going to cut it here, where a lot of teams, we're starting to cut down past the teams that, you know, didn't get past the first group stage. They're now in the survival stage now, where we have a lot of really, really strong teams. They won't just sit down and die like Tiamba did.
No, it's not going to be anywhere near as easy or as fine of a margin. I think that's the other part as well, is the fact that that was 1 point of difference. I would imagine it's going to be a little bit more of a stark contrast here. Oh, hello, imagine
I would have cried.
That would have been huge, man. Full John Rambo action to start off the day, but not going to happen. They will try and instigate the fight, though, onto Melisse as best as possible, whilst they know they're a little bit fragmented over in Alliance territory. So he's going to go breezing off, and Poser will join the rest of the squad, group up, and see what they can get done. But yeah, it is very, I don't know, it's quite a curious way to start off the day, really, in terms of some of the teams that we saw playing well. It was a bit more unexpected for me. After what we saw from Gladiators, I was kind of starting to shift into that, you know, you don't believe in the Gladiators camp. But as soon as it feels like you hit that point on the meter, that's when they bounce back. I think they do it just to, like, spite everyone. They do, man. They really want to kind of like rope you into the idea that it's not going to happen, and then, you know, they make all the fans book their tickets last minute to the finals. That's how that always goes. But we'll see if they can maintain pace, because it was a good game from them. But it's a key point that you hit on as well that I think is quite interesting, in the sense that the best they can do now is try and repeat that as much as possible today, because obviously they've left themselves with no other chances to accumulate points. So if you're leaving it up to another team to decide your fate, that's the rough part.
Losing Alva off the back as well. And I think this is something that's happened a few times now coming through from the boys on the squad. And I think that when you look at this, for Alter Ego, you just maybe drop trash around Mansion. Don't go for this 2-2 split between Lipovka as well as Mansion itself. It's not worth it. With the amount of teams that saw you yesterday get trounced by other squads, of course, NBE Sports is going to come down here and start to take some pot shots towards you. Mondo's coming in with the UAS, likely to clean this one up. The best Rosemary can do is send out some smokes, try and hit a couple of shots over with the DP, but I don't know, man.
No, this is looking pretty raw. It's like uncooked beef at this point, Blank. It is not what you want, mate. one by one, just getting finished off a little bit here for Alter Ego. They've had such a rough couple days in terms of their opening drops. And again, you know, it does really feel like everyone's sort of passed the word around that Alter Ego is the easier team to bully on these drops, Blank. It just keeps happening.
Yeah. I mean, you make yourself an easy target and teams will want those points off from you. And you don't make those adjustments, it's not going to go well in future. Maxman, very astutely
the Max update.
Max update, from the Max Mansion itself. You know, Enigma Galaxy usually dropping towards Pachinki. Xavier over in Group Green refused to give up Pachinki whatsoever. They kept dropping there every single time, even on hot drops. But this time around, they drop over towards Severny. They give it up. This is the first time they've never dropped there. And I think for Xavier, this is actually a really, really important little tidbit to go off the top of, because I like this maneuver. You drop towards Pachinki versus Enigma Galaxy. You know this is a strong team, but right now you're currently third place, 53 points. Consistency, it can be afforded now. So a Severny drop for Xavier when it's open, completely reasonable, I would say, to go for this team. They know they can get further into the map. They know that they're strong holding in that mid game and then trying to take out teams towards that late game as well, with a little bit of sweeping from the high grounds. So I think this is a really good move from Xavier, and again kind of feeds into that storyline, as if you made those points happen in that first day, you have a lot of room to switch up tactics, to switch up strategies. You know, if this is a case that Xavier would be on like 15, 19 points, they might have considered dropping over towards Pachinki and just trying to push it to the limit down there versus Enigma Galaxy, trying to win out on that hot drop and then going out from there, because those 4 eliminations would be very nice. And you can't really fear that fact of, what if we lose the hot drop? You just have to go and think to yourself, we're going to win this hot drop, we're going to move from there, we'll take that central position and give it some really good rotational paths into the late game. Everyone else in this lobby is just going to get trounced by us. You just have to think that you're a much larger team than you actually are.
Yeah, you've got to embody the stature, right? Make it, you know, look like it's hard for you to fit through doorways, that kind of stuff. Build the confidence up by making yourself feel bigger than you are. And that was what they did. I mean, even back in Group Green, right? It was kind of them versus Bra, was just like the battle of Pachinki every single time, Blank. And DX were willing to fight those down to the bitter end, you know, limping away with one player left if they needed to, or even conceding basically an entire run on one of our games of Erangel just to guarantee that drop. So I like the fact that they've at least moved away from that here and kind of thought, all right, we really did risk it, you know, back then. Now it's a little bit of a different kettle of fish. Let's not go for those sort of plays. So good to see the improvement there and the adjustment as well, to be willing to even give up your normal confident drop. Man, drop is a word that is synonymous with Alter Ego at the minute, though, as every time we look towards the Elim feed, it feels like it's Rosemary that's just taking bullets from miles away. It's so unfortunate for AE for the way these games have been going. But again, here, they're just exposed. You've got a line of sight. MBE just keep putting the pressure on them, Blank.
Yeah, I think for Alter Ego at this point in time, it's just not looking good, right? And I think we said this multiple times at this point. There had to be a change coming today. Kalaris gave some really good points, some very risky rotations. I think this one in particular was a risky drop as well. I think you can go for risky drops where they provide you a bit more of an idea of actually getting further into the game. But when you're dropping over towards Mansion and then split dropping in Lepovka as well, and you know that Procedure dropped towards Yasnaya, MBE Sports drop around this location as well, you're sort of playing with fire at that point in time. You know, there is just an opportunity to, look, give up on the scouting early on. We have a very good read on where most of these teams move in from, just from watching a lot of the other games that have happened throughout the group stage. Let's just go for a 4-man push over towards Lepovka. We'll split out. We'll try and sweep up towards the top side of Kameshki and move down from there. There's a lot of good little pit stops along the way on that side of the map. So for Alter Ego, again, a risky drop, which I don't think was particularly necessary here. Xavier, kind of expected from them. Move up towards northern side, take the high ground control, and play off the back of that one. So I like this from DXavier indeed. Mad Balls also find themselves on the northern side of Yasnaya. Very nice little quick rotate from them, and a very hard shift over towards the eastern side, encompassing a lot of water in this one as well. So if teams want to get their feet wet, they certainly can if they want to live out this game a little bit longer. But for most teams, it's going to be either trying to sweep on this northern side or trying to hold towards some of these compounds